Okay, so welcome. So since we've last met, um, mostly Turia and Ohm, who are actually both in this meeting today, they've been working on a new website for me. My old website was made by an Australian friend 25 years ago, 20 years, 22 years ago, when I lived in Australia. And many people have been telling me it's very old fashioned. And I kept saying, well, I really like it. I really like it. But anyway, now I really like the new website. So since the last few days, if you go on the same address, that's johndavidsatsang.org, O-R-G. There's a spanking new 21st century website. And you'll find the masses of new information on that site, lots of videos, lots of texts. And I'm very proud because we have a blog. I'm told that having a blog is very important. And I never had any interest in having a blog before. But now we have a blog. So if you go on my new website, you can find the blog. And apparently a blog is a place where you put particularly interesting things that you want to share with people. So after the first week, we have a song, we have a poem, and we have bits of text. So I thought what I would do today is I would read one of these texts and then we would discuss it together because it's a kind of fundamental text actually. And so this is a text which you can find anyway later, and maybe later you might like to share something on these blogs, because if you write something interesting, I will maybe reply to you, and we can have a sort of dialogue on the blog. Okay, so I'm going to read it a bit slowly so Indira can translate. How many people, Indira, need translation?
Actually, no one needs translation.
Nobody does. Okay, well, I'll read it rather quicker then. Good. So this is called Be As You Are. Confidence in your own being. I've observed that amongst spiritual seekers, there is some confusion about the topic of change. Often people have glimpses, moments, or times when the identification with the thoughts, emotions, and all the things that normally tie people down breaks down. But in daily life, they find it not easy to come back to this transcendence, and often they feel very strongly that they are wrong and should change. The invitation is to a deep acceptance of our true nature, which is the self, or the silence that occurs when the thoughts become still and when we do not identify with them. This is the goal of our spiritual life, to absolutely be as we are. It is very common amongst spiritual seekers to have self-judgments in everyday life, to have the idea you are not okay and that you should change. This is a subtle mistake because implicit in this idea of changing is that I'm going to change because I don't think I'm okay as I am. This is an amazingly egoistical idea because the divine wisdom has put you into a particular situation and you are saying no, you want to change it. But it is also a little bit subtle because there is this deep priority or desire to reach self-realization and then to live in this realization. Therefore, as you judge yourself not to realize now, you think you need to change something so that you can be realized in the future. This is a paradox. Change has to happen, but you can't do the change because the you that wants realization doesn't exist. This you, in fact, is an illusion. You are a creation of your conditioned mind. You are identified with your conditioned mind, and this you simply doesn't exist. You believe that it does exist, and therefore you also believe you can change so that one day you can be as you are. Then, of course, life becomes very complicated. There is another approach to life. You have an inner desire or longing to become self-realized, to become unattached to the thoughts. You realize that right now you're absolutely identified with the false self, with the illusionary self, and that you are playing out in your life your own particular soap opera. You simply accept yourself, the false self, as you are. A deep acceptance that right now you're exactly as you're meant to be, exactly in the place you are meant to be, and you are exactly doing what you're supposed to do. See that these things are changing, but they are not changing because you are changing them. Change simply happens. And if you have the longing to become self-realized, there will be a movement of change to bring you to this self-realization. Life has a tendency to give you exactly what you want. If you want to be rich, you can become rich. If you want to be self-realized, you can become self-realized. Be as you are is an invitation to accept yourself exactly as you are in this moment, without any self-judgment. I am not okay the way I am. I have to change. This is a completely wrong way of thinking, and nothing happens except that you're constantly making yourself unhappy. You can't change like that, and you realize that your judgments about yourself have been going on for a long time and haven't brought you very much. Existence is not separate from what is. You are also not separate from what is. And what is includes everything. Emotions, feelings, everything. If you are bored, be bored. If you are happy, be happy. If you're pissed off, enjoy it. We always have the idea that we have to change pissed off into something nice. Nothing has to change. Anyway, how can you change it? My recommendation is to completely accept yourself as you are in this moment, and at the same time have the goal or longing to become come to self-realization. When we can accept ourselves in this moment, we suddenly discover that life becomes much more easy because we're not putting ourselves onto the realities of daily life with some kind of philosophy or idea about how we would like to be. We just trust our navigation system, our own being, and live our life in presence from moment to moment, a very simple flow. So anyway, fundamental to this text is the idea that you accept whatever is happening. I remember once when I was living in Lucknow, there was a hot summer and you couldn't really go out very much because it was so incredibly hot outside. So we would stay in the cooled down house and rarely go out because it was just too much. And also there was a fine sand that was blowing from one of the deserts, and it was the whole thing was just horrible. And I remember feeling very bored. I was really, really bored. And this went on week by week. I was bored, I was bored, I was bored. And there was some sort of idea in my head that I should change this. I had to do something to change this. And at the same time, I understood that actually I can't change it. I can't change it. And so fighting against myself in some way, I just said, okay, I'm bored. I'm going to be bored. It seems to be going on, but I'm bored. And so actually can't remember now how long it was, but it was maybe like a month I was bored. So this is not so easy, because when something like that happens, you have a strong inner judgment that it's not all right. You see, it's not all right. It's not all right to be unhappy. It's not all right to be bored. It's not all right to be lonely. There's lots and lots of ideas that, we can't accept like that. But there must be some reason why that's happened, you see. And if you simply accept it, that it's happened because it's meant to happen, then maybe you could experience in this little meditation we did in the beginning today, that anyway it changes. This is the amazing thing, that in fact life is constantly changing. And if we take off judgment that I'm not okay bored, I'm not okay pissed off, I'm not okay whatever it is, and we're trying then to change ourselves to something that we somehow decide is how we're supposed to be. But the divine has decided for some reason that right now you need to experience boring, you see. So if you can really accept that, if you can just simply accept what is, be as you are, which is boring, then you find that actually the whole movement inside you, in fact, is changing, and it's changing towards realization. It's always changing towards the self, which is what we want. But when we interfere, when we are so identified with some story, some soap opera, and I've got to be happy, 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 I've always got to be happy, 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 and boring is not acceptable, then we're struggling, we're fighting, and it doesn't work. It doesn't work. So maybe somebody would like to respond to this article or what I'm saying now.
Victoria?
Mm-hmm. Hi, John David.
Hello.
Hello, John David. So nice to see you again after a long time.
Right. And even your daughter is online today.
Yeah, I'm very happy to see her.
Right. I guess she's in, we'll find out later, but she's probably in Sweden now.
Yeah, she is. Yeah. What I wanted to say to you, after the last Sangha, I stood for a week in your community, and it's been very, very wonderful for me. All the actions in the evening, the dancing, and especially the how does it is it called to look into your eye, in your left eye is called
self-inquiry, probably.
Especially the self-inquiry was so very, very much it's been like a miracle for me, because I fell in so deep silence. It was really, really wonderful and touching, and I took it with me. I want to say. I took it with me home, and I felt this silence for a week.
Wow,
and
very good.
Yeah, and I think in the last weeks there were many clients in my shiatsu. I'm a shiatsu practitioner, and I've got more clients. And
Right.
I feel it because I give them more silence. I don't understand it really quite, but I think there's been a change in my handling. Do you understand?
I think so. Yeah, I think it's the same with Reiki, for example.
Yeah, genau. Mm-hmm. And
so I mean, if you yourself are connecting on a deeper level inside yourself, then somehow people immediately feel that.
Yeah,
it
genau.
affects their energy system.
Yeah.
And so then they come back for another session because it was so quiet and silent.
There's things very special going on. It's wonderful. And and your text is really comes to the right time, I think, because now it's another lockdown again, and no client for me.
We have no guests as well.
As well. And I know that there will come times that I am bored or very lonely, and I know your feelings in Lucknow. I know them very much, but I think I have now a new how can I say?
Understanding, maybe.
Yeah, a new understanding. Yeah, that's right. So
the beautiful thing about this new understanding is coming out of your own knowing. You know?
Yeah.
So this is very nice.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're quick, you could come back to Open Sky House while you've got no clients. Yeah.
Yeah, I have clients in Open Sky House.
Oh, well, good. If you have some here, because we suddenly have all our guest house empty, so we have lots of rooms available.
Very sorry. Yeah. But thank you, and thank you that you came into my life, John David. Really.
Well, I think that's definitely something you have to thank yourself about. You know.
Yeah.
Because I think when this happens, it can only happen because of some clarity inside you. You know.
Yeah.
So you have to thank yourself, I think.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. So we don't have to stay exactly on this text that I wrote. If somebody else has something they would prefer to share, then go ahead with that.
Silke?
Hi, John. It's my second time with you today.
Okay, I don't see her actually. Can you make it so I see her?
Hi, John.
You see her now?
No, I only see myself. It's a bit boring. I didn't see Victoria either.
Really? Oh, 1 second. Something's wrong on the computer. I'll come.
Just a moment, and I'd rather see somebody else than me. I'm a bit bored looking at myself. Actually, for John David, boring is one of the worst things in my life, actually. Okay, we're going to get rid of John David and... okay, right. Okay, you've got rather a nice painting behind your head. Did you do that?
No, but it's been with me for, I think, 30 years.
30, okay, yeah. It was done by a Zen master, maybe?
Yeah, I'm not sure. It's from Harry Disberg, it says. It doesn't sound like a Zen master, but I like the Zen
Right.
of it. That's why
Right.
I kept
We
it
have
with me.
we have a painting. We have a calligraphy in our satsang room, a very big one, which is a bit similar to this in the way it's done.
Yeah, I like the Zen style.
Right.
Anyway.
Right. I don't quite remember you, but
no, I've actually just been here with you on the second meeting for myself.
Right.
And I wanted to come to your house, but then this whole Corona stuff started, so I decided not to come then.
Okay. Well, we're open for visitors in the next 24 hours. I think you can come. Okay. Quick.
Yeah, I need to work, so it's not possible at the moment.
Right.
But I'm very, I like to take the advantage that it's possible to connect with you here on Zoom. Thank you. That's a great offering.
Yeah.
And I listened to your story, and it's, of course, has a lot to do with myself too. And I was with you, already told you, I'm old sannyas kid. I took sannyas when I was 5 years old, and I've been on the so-called spiritual path now. I'm 43. Right. And I've been looking for enlightenment and bliss, and gave it up at some point because I found that there was no possibility to find it. And that the whole searching was I remember this one thing that Osho once said, that I am here to exhaust you so that one day in deep exhaustion you fall down on your feet and give up. And that's the way I kind of feel, because then I tried to do this more sophisticated life and got a job and got this and that. And now lately I've been looking for a relationship with men and trying to get that going, and it's all not working. It's nothing works. I've come to the point.
Right. Well, that's a good point to come to. Particularly, you're going to have to, I think, make a priority between men and self-realization.
Yeah.
They don't easily go together.
I've gotten very tangled up. I had a very, very strong on-off relationship for 6 years now, and it's been intense, very, very much energy, or intensely nothing. So it was always on, off, and a lot of, I got stirred up very, very much inside with strong emotions, and really having difficulties then to deal with these strong emotions and getting all messed up.
Right.
So now it's
maybe that was necessary for you. Maybe somehow you hadn't lived these kind of different emotions. Maybe you had sort of spiritual ideas about anger, and so you wouldn't allow yourself to be angry.
Yes.
But what's being suggested today is that if you feel angry, be angry. You don't have to be angry at somebody. You can just simply be angry. Or you can be bored, or whatever the emotion is. So maybe after such a strong relationship with lots of emotions, you're more ready now to accept this idea of just being who you are in any moment.
Yeah. Yeah, that's, I think, pretty much the way it is right now. And but it's also hard for me sometimes then, when strong energies come, not to go into action. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't matter what comes, if it's boredom, or I had strong anger or even rage in this relationship coming up. And it's right, I never had that, because in Sanya's life you usually don't, except maybe in the first years in the encounter rooms, but I was a kid then, I didn't care about all of that. So yeah, now it's like I'm coming back to myself, but it's also, I find myself with heaps and heaps of ideas, like you said in the story before, what should be, what shouldn't be, and I like space out here at home, and I get really angry at myself because I want to get things done and I want to have it orderly, and everything is a mess, and
So
and I
maybe
feel so alone because I moved away from all the people I know for this relationship. So I have nearly no friends around, and it's kind of being tough sometimes.
Right.
And now
Well,
this
maybe you better
Corona.
start by accepting you're a messy girl, you know. But you like Zen painting, so you're not totally messy, I think.
I love the Zen style, but it's hard to keep or to to make it realistic in life.
Yeah.
Because of emotions coming or thoughts coming, and I feel so distracted of all these emotions and thoughts and all that really annoys me a lot also, because there's so much distraction, and I don't find this silent space like before in the meditation where you just, and I was like, oh, finally just being silent is like such a nourishment, and I forget about it.
But if you've been so much involved with Osho, it must be you have some kind of meditation practice that you know well, yeah? Whatever it is, I don't know. But you can go back and give yourself a priority to spend, 20 minutes a day just sitting quietly, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And for example, what we did in the beginning of this meeting is a meditation, but it's the idea of it is to be as you are, yeah? So you look inside and you come to whatever the strongest thing is. In your case, it might be emotions, yeah? So you come to a particular emotion and you keep your attention on that emotion. You just sit with your eyes closed with your attention on that particular emotion.
Mm-hmm.
And after a few moments, you probably lose the focus onto that emotion. But anyway, it will change. Mm-hmm. And so 5 minutes later, when you look again, you'll find that there's some other feeling there, or maybe now it's a body sensation is there. You can just, in this way, you can kind of practice being as you are, because you're going to accept in every look, every time you take another look, you're going to accept what you find. Maybe it's a thought, maybe it's a feeling, maybe it's a body sensation, maybe it's just a strong sound that comes from outside, or in fact, it might be silence. You might be surprised that in fact, silence isn't as far away as you seem to judge yourself, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And, unfortunately with Osho, he talked about so many wonderful things. He painted a kind of wonderful canvas of how it could be as a sannyasin. We could be all these wonderful things,
Yeah.
And when we're not, then it's easy to make a strong judgment, I think, against ourselves. And judging yourself doesn't really help anything. Well, it just helps you to be unhappy, basically.
Yeah, right.
So you say you're in this relationship. Well, okay, so for some reason in your life, you needed to have maybe a difficult relationship where the man was available, then he wasn't available, and so on. So probably all of that was his part, but it had a strong effect on you, and it wasn't really going maybe as you thought it ought to go, or as you were hoping it was going to go. And if you've moved from where you used to live to somewhere nearer to him, and then it's not working like you want it to work, then it would be easy to judge yourself. Yeah. Why did I move away? What am I doing here? And blah, blah, blah. So the mind can give you endless ammunition to judge yourself. So, if this relationship is still going on, then try to accept that it's going on for some reason and see what happens then in that acceptance.
Yeah. There's also something else on my mind, because how do I express it? When this disconnection from the me is like, or meditation, or this putting a priority to this, coming more into this space of nothingness, I would call it, or to make that kind of space in my life, then sometimes I struggle or ask myself with these relationships, because I feel that it disturbs that in a way very much, because I get so identified over these relationships. And I'm not sure if whether this is rather good to say, okay, I rather spend time by myself, kind of more concentrating on being here now and seeing what's coming out of myself, than always interacting with people, because I feel very drawn away. But then also, of course, I miss interaction, so I'm a bit split there.
Right.
Because I feel that in these interactions, all these emotions and all this identification seems to get much stronger than when I'm just with myself and maybe just feeling what's going on for me at the moment.
Right. Well, maybe later you can read some of the other blogs. Now I'm very proud of my blogs.
Yeah, I will look at it.
You will find some of them are about relationship and intimacy and sex. You know, there are 2 or 3 on that subject, and there's one on love and so on. So maybe you'll find them useful. But basically, what I could say is that, you know, I don't really know you, so I can't make any real judgment. But for example, in our community where we live together, so we have people who have gone through being a beginner. You know, they can easily be quiet. In fact, I would say our whole community can easily be quiet. We sit together in a circle. We can easily go into a deep silence. So all these people are potentially now close to self-realization, because to be self-realized, you've got to have the capacity to be silent. If your mind is very, very busy, then you're not really ready yet for that, in my opinion. So you've got to be able to be quiet and silent. Mm-hmm. And I don't know you, but if you've been a sannyasin for so many years, 30 years or something, you probably have got that capacity. It may not always be happening because it seems that something is in a way disturbing your life at the moment. Yeah, somehow you've, for some reason, maybe you missed out on having too many boyfriends, and so then you felt, oh, I better do this. Maybe you suddenly want to make a baby, but you've got nobody to make a baby with, or I don't know, you know, some reason you made a change in your life. So then, you know, what I would say is that it's very important who you relate with. Because in the society in general, people are not really quiet. They're not really having the capacity to be silent. So if you're in an intimate relationship with a man who has no capacity to be silent, and actually isn't even interested in being silent because he's much more interested in all kind of other things, that is not really going to support you. Mm-hmm. That's basically going to disturb you, you know. So who you relate with becomes actually quite important, because most of us don't have enough inner power to stay in our own silence when we're surrounded by people who are not silent, you know. For example, now I would say that in my life, I never disturbed really. I mean, nobody can disturb me actually, but it was many years before I could say that. Now I'm very old, and so somehow now I've established myself in a way that I'm not really disturbed, but still sometimes I'm disturbed. So something happened recently, I've forgotten, and oh, I know, yeah, something happened, and then I was disturbed for some time. So I mean, for example, one of the advices I got from Papaji, who was my sort of active master after Osho, was be very careful who you relate with, who you surround yourself with, who are your friends. Because if these friends share the same interest that you have, then they support you. But if they're regular members of society and they talk nonstop and they're completely busy in their mind with millions of thoughts, then they completely sabotage you. And probably you're not strong enough to deal with that sabotage. But I can't really judge you because I don't know you well enough. You know, if you came and spent a week here, I can give you better advice.
I think you got it pretty well.
Ah, okay. Yeah.
But anyway, I would like to come, but no, but you got it pretty well, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I mean, you're an obvious person. I mean, who, you know, to become involved with a spiritual master when you're 5 years old is a kind of enormous gift. Yeah. So in my case, I was 30 when I met Osho, you know, and I was a complete idiot until I was 30. I didn't understand anything about anything. really, even though I thought I could have been the president of the world, you know. When I was 20, I thought, well, I don't know why I'm not the president. I know everything, you know, but actually I didn't, but I thought I did. So when you've been so many years connected to a master like Osho, then of course that would suggest there's a reason why that's happened in your life, because it doesn't happen in most people's lives. You know? So it's as if in your divine intention or your particular navigation system, you have a dot against you, which suggests that you're somebody who knows silence and could become self-realized. You know, you have some kind of potential. But it's not so easy, because if you live in the regular society and you don't really have friends who support that element, you can go off the track and end up being like everybody else. And maybe that's what's happened for you. I don't know.
Yeah, it feels like that a little bit, that I did it the other way around. So I was quite good at it growing up, but then I got more stiff and more, running for a normal life, because I got also rejected a lot as a sannyas child. I was running around in red with mala on to school, and I had a funny name. So I put up with a lot of rejection at a very early age.
Right.
And so in a way one day, and also it wasn't so easy, many things, so I decided I wanted to do the normal life, but
right.
It's been really tough on me too. So
your parents were sannyasins, were they?
Yeah, I was the first one actually, because my dad, he was interested in it, and my stepmom, and we went to there was a beautiful castle in Germany, and I loved it there, and I could play around, and it was just fantastic for me as a child. So I was the first one to say, hey guys, I want to have this name, and I want to also wear this mala.
Yeah, okay, but 5 years old to decide that, you see. Yeah. So why were you could say chosen? Why was your destiny like that? You know, very few people have that destiny. So somehow, you know, there would be a reason, you know, there's some kind of reason. I'm not so much into mystical ideas like you must have been a Tibetan monk or something in your last life. I don't really have much interest about all that. But there's some reason why you came into this life and so quickly connected at 5 years old with something that almost nobody connects to, you know. So I would say you should value that as your main priority in life. And although the society doesn't make that the main priority, the society makes falling in love, actually, that the most important thing is you fall in love and you live happily ever after, you know. And maybe that's not really how you're going to become happy ever after. That's just not your route, you know.
Yeah.
But to decide to be alone as an attractive woman is not so easy, because anyway, many men will bother you or want to relate with you. And also you yourself, as you say, you like to have attention, you like to have friends, you like to be in a relating situation, yeah. So it's very difficult to resist all that, because being a single lady like a monk is not really one of society's kind of goals in life. Yeah.
But the truth is, that's where I'm most happy with.
I think you better come and visit our community, actually.
I come and visit?
I think you better come, yeah. I mean, we talked about this before, maybe you were going to come, but many months have passed. So
yeah.
Yeah.
I know, it's right now I'm of course also like everybody else, because of the virus thing, I'm drawn even more back, you know, because I also really want to take care.
We're not too serious about the virus here, you know.
Okay.
I've been twice to Ukraine, once to Spain. And on Monday, I fly again to Spain, and you know, we don't mind too much about that. Okay. I mean, if you have a holiday at Christmas, New Year, we're going to have a 3 weeks retreat in this house.
Wow. I will think about that.
Maybe something like that, if
Yeah.
you have the time and if you have the money, maybe something like that could be just what would resolve, because you probably have basically an inner dilemma, you know, like one part of you wants to be a monk and the other part wants to be a happy healthy wife with 3 kids and a husband.
Yeah, that's you got it. Totally schizophrenic.
Right. So maybe when you would come to a retreat with us, it would get clear one way or the other, you know, and then you don't have to be a monk, you know, you don't have to be choosing that, even though you chose it very young. And maybe, you know, we don't know. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, good.
That's very
Nice to
nice.
talk to you again. Yeah.
Thank you very much, John.
Okay,
Nice to be here.
good. Okay, somebody else perhaps? This is Turia.
Yes, hello? Is it
Hello.
working?
It's working, yes.
Okay, good. Yes, this one word from what you have read that immediately was very strong, and this was confidence.
Right.
Yeah, so I can just see, yeah, how fragile this is. Yeah, that this confidence is really a thing. Yeah, yeah, it just goes so quick that I'm not confident. Yeah.
Well, I think, I mean, we have different ideas about this word, yeah, because in the society, this word is used for somebody who, you know, is almost on the edge of arrogance, you know, somebody who kind of goes through life and it's like, you know, this is what I have to say. And, you know, but I think confident, what was it? Yeah.
Confidence, yeah.
I think confidence is to do with this navigation system, you know, that when you accept that there is some kind of power, divine power, and this divine power is in effect a navigation system, and this navigation system is taking us through our life. Yeah? When you can accept that clearly, then you can have a confidence in that navigation system. So, for example, I'm living in the middle of Germany. I can't speak German. So every time I go out in my car, I have to ask somebody, what is the address? I want to go to, the other day I took the kids to a shop for toy shop. So I asked somebody, I get the address, I put it in my navigation system, and it says, you know, turn right, turn left, go straight. And I just follow the navigation, right? So that gives me a confidence, you know, confidence that I can arrive in the right place. Yeah? So this is, I think, a good meaning of confidence, that if you accept this divine guidance, which is leading you in your life, then you can be confident in that guidance. And then when some kind of illusionary soap opera idea comes up, you simply don't give it any energy. You're not interested, because you're confident in what's happening in your life on a deeper level, which is from this navigation system. And actually, as you live in our community, and you've been living here for a long time in the community, actually that's basically how you're living your life. You basically live your life like that. But unfortunately, you've still got one leg in the in some kind of story, you know? And so you don't have the confidence to keep trusting what you know to be correct. You don't really have the confidence, as you say. Confidence is your word today.
Mm.
Maybe you read this text a few times, because this text, actually, I put this text in for you. You know,
Yeah.
I sent it to you.
Mm.
And I mean, the reality is that as I know you, you have the capacity to be as you are. and your being as you are is a very creative lifestyle, and also it's a very interesting lifestyle because you're very well qualified with many different things. And the other aspect in this story of confidence, for you particularly, is that when you're particularly good at dancing, singing, editing films, you have an endless list of things, creative things you're actually very good at, then inevitably you have a very high standard. You have a kind of inner judge which wants a very high level. You're not just any old dancer or any old singer. You want to be a especially brilliant dancer. You want to be a particularly good singer, and so on, with everything you do. And this is this kind of how can I say this intention, like an intention to be a good quality, is not wrong. I don't think there's anything wrong in it, but it comes on the edge of being like a super judge, a high court judge who never really leaves you alone in many other things. And maybe in those other things, you don't need a judge, and you don't need a kind of pushing into being perfectly wonderful. In certain creative things, like you, for example, you're a very good dancer and you like doing kind of unusual dances, and you like to bring together the costumes and the music and so on. So with something like that, then use your inner power to make a high level. You can invite the dancing judge to that, if you like, right? But when it comes to just ordinary everyday stuff, you don't need that judge anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I have been sharing with you that this judgmental voice even is judging my emotional life, yeah. So it's yeah, like really too much, and it doesn't make sense even, yeah.
No.
Like
So
my
stop
heart
it.
is not open enough, yeah. It's like endless.
Yeah, well, your heart is open as much as it can be open.
Yeah.
So you should definitely not put that judge in the job of judging your emotions. You should accept your emotions as they are.
Yeah.
And, stepping back a bit, because I know you very well, the reality is that you could just stop all this self-judgment about not being good enough. It's like some terribly old story which, came into you through your family life from somebody in your family, your sister, your mother, or somebody was always judging you. You took these judgments on board. And anyway, everybody has a tendency to think they're not good enough. I mean, God knows who is good enough, I mean, Germany is already a country where, the rest of the world would find Germany almost perfect, And if you go and spend time in Mexico, then that Germany is perfect because, nothing works in somewhere like Mexico. And there's loads of countries even worse than Mexico, where. So Germany, you're living in a society in Germany which is amazingly perfect. Some people would find it a bit too perfect. And you can easily have the desire to go and sit in a French cafe or something where nothing is quite perfect, but a bit more juicy. There's a bit of lack of juice in Germany because if things are too perfect, then there's not any space for maybe juice. So I have a complete love-hate with Germany because I'm born in England and lived in England for many years, and now I've lived in Germany for many years. So I have really a love-hate with Germany. I can appreciate so many brilliant things about Germany, and also there are many things which are uncomfortable for me. But it's like it is. Germany won't change for sure. So maybe you could make a resolution that you're going to simply allow your emotions to be as they are for a while and see how that works for you. Okay.
Yes.
Let's see if anybody else has something similar to that.
Hello?
Hello? Ah,
Hello.
hello, Michael. Hello, Michael.
Hello. Yeah, I'm back in Tübingen,
Right.
and I feel quite close to this topic of confidence, and self-discipline is my other difficulty, I would say. I mean, I feel since I'm back, I kept more inner silence, which I preserve from my time in Spain and Hittorf, and or this recognition of this inner stillness, which I'm very happy about. And I don't feel so much the need to connect immediately with other people because I just feel lonely. So I feel more at peace at a certain time. But then also I feel it's not so easy to structure my life. I mean, or to get my discipline in a good way, to be not only thinking or not too much meditating, or to find a balance between, yeah, the spiritual and the good discipline to structure a day, for example. So
Well,
it's
good discipline sounds a bit like it could lead you into strong judgments, you know. Is that one of your paintings behind you?
yes, yes.
Is that a recent one or?
No, it's like from 2002,
Okay.
and
So maybe, you know, as a wild artist, you're not really meant to have too much interest in something like an ordered discipline, you know? Maybe ordered discipline is not really a main aspect to your personality.
right.
So maybe you accept that, you know?
Yeah, I think just my body really feels it was very helpful when I was in Hittorf, getting up, having a rhythm, just to have a regular 3 meals and a community around, which was really lovely. So now to get it all together by myself is much more difficult, and my body feels it would be good to have some kind of a structure. So
Right. Well, you could take our daily structure and lead it for yourself, you know?
yeah, that's a hard part. But
Right.
generally, I would say this artistic creativity and is, I mean, it's also not so much in the front right now. It feels more this wanting that life tells me what will be the next steps, which is also not so easy to bear in a way. This not knowing.
Right.
Good.
Well, the only way you're going to get an answer to that is by spending time looking inside, I think. Yeah. You're not the kind of person that will get it from other people. So, you know, you won't get it from watching television or reading newspapers. You'll probably only get it from looking inside yourself. So that's your route in a way, yeah, to connect with your navigation system and see where it's suggesting for you to move if you need to move.
Right. Yeah. And maybe because also I listen to some kind of spiritual teachers and listen to psychological things. So I'm trying to reach out for some information which might be helpful.
Well, this could be very confusing also, I think, you know. I mean, you're not a young, you're not a, how can I say, you're not a young chick, you know, your feathers are getting a bit worn now. So maybe the way to go is to trust your own inner navigation system. You know, if you at your kind of point in life are getting all kind of input from many different teachers, then you could just end up with a chaos, I think. I don't think that's really going to be the way that will bring you anything very important. I mean, you could decide in your heart or by going inside, you could decide which of the many teachers that you're in contact with is the one that really touches you the most, and become more involved with that person, maybe. But even that may not be your way anymore. Maybe you're now at an age and understanding where, you know, you don't really need that in your life either. And so then a total acceptance of what your navigation system is telling you, it would be the way.
Yeah, I think it's also a little bit of dilemma in a way to see this artistic and spiritual path, and I mean how to bring all this together and to make life in a way a spiritual path, not to make separation between all that.
Right. Well, I don't have a big answer to that.
Right.
I can't really add something that you didn't get from me when you were spending time in the community, I don't think. And, you know, when we talk, I mean, in the end, it has to be what your own navigation system tells you, yeah?
Right.
Because everybody has a different kind of path, has a different kind of destiny. So, you know, you have this painting part, artistic part, you have some spiritual part because you're connected to various monasteries and so on. So, you know, you can become a painting monk, you know, a monk who paints, or you can become a painter who goes to the monastery. I don't know which is your priority, really. Okay, so nice talking to you.
Nice to see you again.
Okay. We haven't got so much time now, so if there's anybody else. So Simon, it's good to see you again. Are you in the north of Sweden?
Yes, I am in Luleå.
So there's lots of snow and ice up there now.
We actually had snow. It's melting away already. We had very nice snow. And the sun was still high up, so it was very lovely for a couple of days.
Right. And what are you up to?
The last two speeches of Gloria and of Michael kind of touched some questions that I carry around with me. Okay. I put up a kind of routine for myself. Like in the mornings, I write.
Right.
And because then I still have the concentration I need, and I'm not in the danger of prioritizing something else and end up in the evening and not having written anything. And during the 2 or 3 hours writing, I really feel fine. There's nothing that troubles me. So that's really, really nice. And then I can spend the afternoon looking for jobs or working with my film stuff.
Right. Yeah. Good. Okay.
So that's a good thing, I find. Mm-hmm.
And did you take something away from the retreat in the end? I think we haven't spoken since the retreat in September.
No. Something that keeps me thinking and wondering. I've read some Papaji books since then. And he says, if you want to reach freedom, you need to want it 100%. And then I read that sentence and think, well, it's difficult to say it in percent, but I feel like I'm on step 1, maybe. It's not 100% priority for me right now, or not yet, or.
Yeah, but that's why it's not happening in your life also. Yeah.
Mm.
I mean, you just told us clearly your priority is writing, and you do it every morning.
Mm.
So, I mean, that is your priority. So it's okay, you know. But what Papaji was also saying is absolutely true, you know. And I know it from my own experience because, you know, when I spent time with him, living near him, going to his meetings each morning, it was completely my priority. And already I'd spent many other years with Osho. So I had, you know, I'd given up all my other priorities. You know, I wasn't a writer, but if I would have been a writer, I would have given up that, you know. So it's not the moment for you to make it a priority because it's not happening, you know.
Mm.
So when you be as you are, you're apparently making the priority of being a writer. And anyway, from what you told us in the retreat, you absolutely need to finish this book that you've been working on for 30 years. Did you ever send it to us, actually?
Yeah, I did.
I never heard anything about your book. Did you send it to us? Because
Yeah, I did.
some people were ready to read it, but nobody has told me anything.
I got some, Parvati told me that she started to read.
Okay.
But I don't know of anybody else. Yeah.
Okay. Well, you reminded me, I'll ask around and see, because it's in German, isn't it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can't read it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. But I mean, I think for you in the retreat, and now again in this moment, you're making the priority to write. So I think you don't have to have any question about that. Just carry on writing.
Mm-hmm.
But when you've done, how can I say, when you've done your writing enough that maybe other things could come in your life, if one of those is spiritual freedom, then it requires really 100%.
Mm-hmm.
And this is actually why hardly anybody ever comes to self-realization. You know, in my case, I spent my whole life, you know, I gave up my life in my 20s. You know, I left university. I went to an engineering, have a job as an engineer, design engineer. And then I went back to school and became an architect. Then I worked as an architect for a short time. And now since 30, so it's like more than 40 years, I haven't done anything. No job, no priority except spiritual, whatever you want to call it. You know?
But
I was destined to have a very high priority, you know. But not many people are that crazy. So most people don't have that high priority. I think it's all right, you know. Maybe you're going to become very satisfied from having this book published and, you know, getting the credit for the book and so on. I mean, it seems clear to me that you must get this book finished to your satisfaction and published to your satisfaction.
But I mean, even though I don't have 100% focus on spiritual freedom, it sounds like there's either a yes or no in this question. But does it make sense to practice stillness, getting still? I find it does make sense.
Yeah, I mean, I would think as a writer, you'll get the benefit of having a quiet mind.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there was a value in becoming a quiet mind, whether you're going to make a priority later in your life or not. You know?
I find I'm getting very creative then.
Yeah.
It's not really a quiet mind, but it's a mind that sends me something which I can work with later.
Yeah. So that, I mean, when you see that, the effects of that, then you're going to be attracted to sit quietly sometimes because you're getting a definite value out of it.
Yeah.
But it would appear to me that your destiny is not to give your whole priority to freedom, because when you're with us, you were also offered the possibility to get closer to me and to us. and you didn't really, that wasn't really your thing, obviously. It's okay. I mean, there's no problem in it, you know. And I find it very good that you're so much focused on your writing, and I'd look forward to getting a copy of the book when it's published, even though I can't read it.
Maybe you have to learn German.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, that's not very likely. I'm planning to go and live in Spain in a couple of years, so I don't think German is not part of my life, this life. Okay, good. Anyway, you're smiling nicely, so that's nice.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so there was somebody I don't know, I think. Tatiana, do I know you? Do we meet before? You like to say hello or
Hi.
hi?
No,
Did we meet before?
not yet. No, this is my first time in your satsang.
And are you from Russia?
I'm from Bulgaria.
Bulgaria, okay. And where do you live?
I live in Bulgaria right now.
Oh, really? You're coming into the meeting from Bulgaria?
Yeah.
Ah, how did you meet us? I mean, how do you know about it even?
I have a friend who is in your community.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Who's that?
His name is Ole
Ole.
Rajan
Ah, Rajan, from Sweden.
from Norway.
Norway, I mean, God,
Yeah.
he's listening to me. Dear me, I mustn't say. I always call him Swedish, but of course he's Norwegian. Yeah.
Hi.
Okay, good. Well, you're looking very happy. So whatever you're doing in your life, it seems to be working for you.
It changes moment by moment, I guess. I feel
Yeah.
happy today.
Yeah, you look very happy. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. And what are you doing in Bulgaria?
Many things. Yeah.
What is your priority? We've been talking about priority.
Well, currently I live really close to my family, and I guess that was a priority for a while.
Right.
Understanding a lot of things about my family, and I think this is coming to an end pretty soon.
Right.
Yeah.
Are you caring for somebody who's been ill?
No, but
No?
actually just really had the need to be close to my grandparents, my mom and dad, and I left home when I was 18, so it was good to come back after a while and get to know them as an adult. So
Right.
that's been
Okay.
really nurturing. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Well, come and visit us sometime.
Yeah. Maybe in Spain.
Okay, yeah.
Spain.
Well, Rajan is in Spain right now. Maybe you know that.
Yeah.
Right. In fact, we just decided he would stay a bit longer in Spain. He's very happy about that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We're planning to make a big community in Spain. Maybe he told you.
Mm-hmm.
But the community we have here in Germany will be the kind of core of that new community. So we're going to reach out for new people who might like to live in Spain and live near the Mediterranean, live in a beautiful old house and garden, and where the sun shines a lot.
Exactly.
I was just telling some of the German people who live in the community here, you know, that actually I had to tell them very honestly that Germany is not got a good publicity, you know, too much rain, a bit gray, and kind of too perfect, you know.
Yeah.
And I can see you're not the lady for that, really.
I actually studied in Germany. I was in Düsseldorf for 4 years, and I think it was enough for this lifetime. Nothing against Germany, it's just I like the sun much more.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But we're actually only 20 minutes from Düsseldorf. You probably know that.
I heard.
Right, right.
Yeah.
And we have our own particular sun, you know, we have a special arrangement. So the sun is shining on our community all the time, you know. So
That's
you're always welcome here.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay, good. Nice to meet you anyway.
Nice to meet you too.
Okay. So I think we're going to stop in a moment. Is anybody else like to have a quick chat? Govinda's arrived.
Hi.
Hello.
Ah,
I'm not going to talk to you because I can talk to you every day.
yeah.
I
Then,
do, but it's nice you join us anyway.
yeah.
Govinda's living in our community. How's the parrot?
Yeah. Yeah. I think.
He's given up on women and now he loves a parrot. Well, he hasn't given up on ladies, I don't think, have you?
Oh, I never give up.
No, you're ever hopeful, yeah. But in the meantime,
Yeah, and yeah, it's also quite lovely to be with Picasso. It's different,
right,
but it's completely lovely. It's more for the heart.
right,
For the heart, it's great.
right. Yeah, we have a very nice white parrot, rather big and friendly. Yeah. Okay, so unless anybody else grabs me quickly, I think we'll stop now. Okay, and have a look at the blog because there's about 10, I think, interesting texts now on the blog. Okay, all right, so thank you very much. Thank you. See you again soon.